It's not live yet.
Oh my god, that's so
Look at
much.
me, I'll be angry.
Right, how long we got? Okay.
Ben's late.
I need to
He's
wee.
not even here.
No, come on. I mean, the thing is with the water
This
in
is
the
why
West
we're
Coast.
7 minutes late.
Are we on now?
Yes, we're on now. Do you see yourself?
Ah!
Okay.
I can't. I gotta get this right because I can never. Oh no, it's the camera.
Camera, yeah. Right, hold on.
Yeah, carry on.
Right, squeeze in if you need to.
No, I'm just trying to find. Right. I come from the West Country. We have quite hard water. You don't tend to wee as much as you do when you're over in Northern Ireland. It's quite light and it goes through you. Carrying on. Apparently, everyone started earlier than me.
Come on, shift in here. Right, there you go. Oh god. Right, okay. Ben, we're going to be looking through some projects this week.
Are we?
Yes, we are. And first off, we're going to be looking through someone else's thing because we didn't look at it last week.
I feel so less stressed now.
That's okay. By the way, we
I've
also...
worked before when I've wet myself and carried on snowboard, but I hate it.
Right, by the way, if you didn't know, this is Ben, Big Ben from 4Ground. We also have
I know
Small
I might
Ben
have some many
from,
personalities,
Beasts of War.
but honestly, I know who I am.
We also
When
have-
was that? Was that taken yesterday?
Yes, that was taken yesterday. That's been the postwork. We also have Small Ben, our Ben, with us as well. How are
Original
you, Small
Ben.
Ben.
He is OG
Yes.
Ben, not OTT Ben. OG Ben,
OG Ben,
not BOW Ben, because that's old.
it's old school. Right, let's save that. Oh no.
I tell you what, it's a good job I went to the young men's room because you're not up together, mate. You say you were on for 7 minutes longer than me, and it's still not. Come on, it should be. What is going on? What is going on? Apart from the fact that what original Ben is so glad he's not in the same studio as me. What is going on, lads? Come on, please. What are you trying to achieve here?
Well, what I'm trying to achieve is to get a post, and it's not like
There's loads of little controls all around here. It's great.
Yeah.
You haven't got one of those active monitors. No, you haven't. You
No.
do all the buttons, don't you?
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off from page 75, Ben.
So
That's
what am I
original
painting?
Ben,
No.
I think.
Which Ben are you talking to? I can hear you, mate. I can hear you
Let's see.
fine.
How are,
You are, mate. Yeah.
how are you,
Yeah.
Ben? Original Ben.
Original Ben, I can see you. All right, my lover. Sorry, that's just a West Country way of saying.
Okay, so we're going to start off page 75 of the What Are You Painting Now thread, and hopefully we'll get
I can tell you what I'm
everything
painting
we
right
need.
now.
What are you painting right
Absolutely
now?
nothing at the moment. I
Nothing?
don't know. Carry on.
You've been working away though. in the
I've been
little
designing
laptop.
here,
Yeah.
haven't I? Yeah, that was with Jerry and
I
that.
can't hear original Ben.
You can't
You
hear
can't
original
hear original Ben.
Right, right.
Well, let me just
right.
tell you all, the original Ben is discussing myself and how he finds me a great inspiration. And make your lips move, Ben. He's,
It's not going to work now.
just weird stuff going on here. I promise I didn't press any buttons of any kind.
Okay, this is probably going.
I can hear him stirring his tea if that helps.
Yeah, Ben, can you say something there for a second?
Yeah, what do you want me to say?
Hello, hopefully you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Can you hear him
What do you
now?
like, Coco?
Hear me now, me little chicken.
Coco, can you hear him, please? Coco, I am not the Ben you're looking for.
Yeah, I can hear
This is the most professional of all streams.
It's
Right.
because all I've done is relieve my own pressure, and I come here.
This is
Can
just
we hear him now?
chaos. Yes, we can hear him now.
So what do you think was wrong then?
What was wrong
Yeah.
is that...
Lack of experience on your part, maybe?
Probably, yeah. More than likely. Even though we've done this for weeks on end, I still have to
Yeah,
reset every single...
But it's
key
your
in
ability to retain the
bloody
information that is actually, available to you.
Tell you what, how the BBC
Yeah.
can just magically fix cameras,
Yeah.
they must have a team that just relink everything.
That's because they have goblins
Probably.
and you have leprechauns, you see, and
That's
leprechauns are too busy having good fun times, and goblins are just there to gremlins to.
Can you see that camera there? Do you want to push it up a wee bit?
Yeah.
It's maybe a wee bit too high, but yeah. There we go. There we go. Now people can see your lovely faces.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh no, I've got it wrong. Why are you getting? This is the most crazy. Why didn't we do this before? Oh, I wasn't here, was I? Yeah.
No, you weren't here.
Well,
It's usually set up. Me and John are ready to
you'd
go.
be sat next to a wet. Never mind.
Right, there we go. Okay. Right, we are going to be looking at projects today, hopefully. Big Ben, are you ready? Prepared for this? What do you think of this first project that we're looking at here? So this is by Inu53.
New face. Sorry. Yeah, I love that. I love it also when people show a photograph of what they're doing, to actually leave a bit of the finger or a bit of the something to give you that point of reference. You see how we've got them here.
So you need like bananas for scale or something?
I don't use bananas for scale. I find them intimidating.
Oh, okay.
There's those little bananas you can get, aren't there? The little ones, they look quite good.
So
Oh
just-
my god, imagine if you did a photograph like that you shouldn't do, like a selfie.
Right.
And
You okay there, Cass?
hello, it's alright. Yeah. What are you talking about anyway?
I'm talking about projects.
I've never known you lost. Oh, this is nice. Oh gosh, what lovely buildings they
Yeah,
are.
these look pretty familiar, don't they?
They do, don't they? Yeah,
Where are
that's
they-
awesome.
Where are these from, though?
I tell you what, yeah, they're 4Ground ones, but I like the way the roof has been done here. It looks like it could be either a modelling, an air dried clay, or it could even be a foam where you can press in some of the foams. You can press in, and you can actually leave the impression there, and then depending on how you finish it, you can actually get some lovely effects. I know I was talking with your John a short while ago about some of the effects you can get with different household things, and once you've made them part of that model, you wouldn't guess where they came from if
Yeah.
Moving along, someone's dead in that car. Oh, I like that.
I like
Do
the
you-
added
do
characters.
you want to watch this?
Yeah,
screen?
yeah. Thank you, mate. What, they're so
We've got
plain.
two-
Yeah, I know.
We've
It's
got
terrible.
two screens, so I can look at this side.
Yeah.
Ben's too busy looking at
They
both
are
of
the
them.
same picture, though. That's the most amazing
If you,
thing.
If you cross your eyes, you'll see it perfectly.
No, I tell you what I have a problem with is because I am not allowed two monitors at work, because I think the reason that the guys that use the monitors have two monitors is purely because they want them and I want them. So like, it's like they've been. That's really nice. They want. Look, if you keep scrolling while I'm talking, I'm looking. That is.
I'm
really,
just wondering because this is one monitor.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to say. But what you have is right. This in scale. You've got a banana. I need to show people, right? No, I tell you what. This is a soft drink. Any soft drinks can could be used. In fact, actually, Lance's soft drink can could also be used. So these are two monitors. These are just stepping. They're just they're
Yeah. Okay.
So this is me. This is the guys at work. They have them slightly apart because they like it when one jumps from one monitor screen to the other monitor screen, and there's a slight gap. Not Lance. No, what he's got is he's got a really big monitor screen, and it's one monitor. So that's what I'm explaining to people. So, wow, what is that? Am I using that one?
Yes.
Hello. Is that really mine? This is awesome. Imagine if you had a banana. I always get this real time moving forwards and backs wrong. Imagine if you had a banana next to that to show people this. Actually,
right.
this is big.
Right. If you whisper into that, you might trigger some people's ASMR. You're gonna just.
Hello! Right, my lover!
Right, okay. Put it backward.
I am putting it back. Right, I'd like to be a bit more.
We need you pointing towards us. Jesus Christ, we're not going to see any projects.
What did they mean anyway when you drew the short straw? When I came in and they said you've drawn the short straw, were they talking about the show?
No.
They're talking about something else completely different.
Yeah, it was to do with straws with their drinks.
With bananas.
See, my straw is so short, it's inside the can.
Talking bananas again, aren't
Yeah.
Which must be a left or a right-handed banana? No, moving on. Right. Oh no, wait a minute. Let's get back to the serious stuff.
GWLs.
Can I be a real pain and ask to go back to the last project? Because I haven't actually engaged with. No, can I go to the last one before the penultimate last?
Okay.
There we go. Right. So talking about this fantastic. What's happening? No. What did happen then?
I'm just zooming in a bit.
You're touching buttons, mate. All right. Oh, God, I can't stand that when people. It's like being a. Oh no, you are the driver. If this was a car, you'd be the. I'd be the back seat. I'd be the side
co-pilot.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Right. I really love that Wizard's workstation using common parlance here you see with the modern world.
Yeah.
And as you can see, his desktop, which is actually the traditional desktop, not the common.
Yeah.
His desktop. You've got his little aide de memoire books there. You see, he's got the little skull on the top of the magic book because it has a tendency to open up and want to talk. And then you look a bit further down, and you can see he's got his little little barrel of pick-me-up refreshment. Imagine that as being a sort of Red Bull. Could be any brand of monstrous energy drink. Do you see what I did there?
Yeah.
And but he's got that there to keep him awake, and he's got some other little potions, and he's got his mug. I really love he's got his mug, but it also looks like he's got his child's milk dummy bottle thing.
I think that's just a jar. Is that not just a jug? We're not.
It looks like a tippy
really
cup
about
as well, doesn't it? But that's really
talking about the paint schemes.
The paint schemes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like it because it's very easy sometimes to have a very fantastical colour palette, and that's good. But sometimes a mage should not necessarily have would not necessarily have a colourful garb on. You're changing project, mate. Can we go back? Thank you.
Sorry.
Gee. My wife always says to me, "Are you finished yet?" And I go, "No, I'm still doing this stuff."
I'm just saying, what's next?
Right. So I'm still doing this one.
We need another screen.
So yeah, we do. Well, so this one here, I like the fact that they have used a nice, what would you call it, a natural colour palette to the garb that the guy is wearing, because the Thunderbolt and Lightning, everything very sparkly and shiny.
So very frightening.
Is no. I've gone off on a tangent in my head. Fortunately, I didn't let it out of my mouth.
Have you caught it? Have you caught it?
I did just in time. Boom. No. And I really like that, because I think that if I were a mage, which I'm not, and I want to reassure you, there's nothing magical about me.
Okay.
If I was one, then I would want to look very inconspicuous, because people otherwise might think I'm not normal.
Yeah, and people might come to you and ask for advice. You don't want that,
Well,
especially when you're trying to study.
It's important. I would imagine if I wasn't normal, it would be important to look normal.
Yeah, definitely. Except for that huge scythe that he's wielding.
Oh, the miniature, yes, yeah, without doubt. Or the big book. You'd need a really strong arms to carry such books. But in any case, I think this is a lovely project. I would love to see. Hopefully, we can see it when I imagine that there'll be some ancient text on the spines of some of these books, or some of them will be made out of cadaver skin.
Who knows?
Flesh.
We may get.
Flesh of
We may get there.
dead people. Can you hear that, Ben? Ben, can you hear me?
Ah!
Right, my lover. Right. Okay, next project.
Next project.
Well done. You
This is
see, you
Silver
instinctively
Stars.
knew when I had finished. Then.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
moving
It's
on.
like we've done this before. So this is Fallout Wasteland Warfare
Right. Why do I like it?
by
Well, that's
Silver
right.
Stars.
Well, am I going to? I can't help. I will always talk about
This links over to Imagers.
terrain first of all.
So
I'm sorry about terrain,
Let's go back to the
but
project.
what the?
links.
Wow.
It links outside the website.
All right.
What do you think of the
so
terrain here?
I would like to go first of all about the terrain, because it's very easy with terrain. This is moving terrain, but it's very easy with terrain to think, oh, that looks right. But this guy's actually noticed that when you do block work, the cracks that appear tend to appear because the materials underneath the render are different. And so because the mortar is of a different, reacts differently to the way the block work reacts, then what you get is you see these ribbons of cracks in the render.
Yes.
And then what happens when it falls away is it tends to expose in chunks of actual blocks or half blocks. And I don't know whose thing that is in the background, but I absolutely love it. And I think also I don't know if that's a terrain mat or if that's a terrain piece, but they've really thought about how they're going to set their scene.
It looks like a mat, I think.
Yeah, and I think the important thing when you're talking about photographing your miniatures, and again, as somebody who creates a lot of terrain, we're very keen. We are, our foreground is your backdrop. You see what I did there? And so what you've got here is there's a bit of a house behind it. There's a tree. There's a damaged wall, and you're not first of all looking at the survivor, and then as you zoom into the survivor, you suddenly think, yeah, that person is definitely believable, and that's why it's also important if you're going to, for me, because I'm a little bit sad that way, if I'm going to be playing in a kind of an old school game, and we all know what we're talking about here, okay? But if I was going to play an old school battle game, then I would almost want those old school looking, the buildings that used to come into cardboard packs, because we're all, and then later on they used to have the little plastic little grippers for the coins and things in the windows, and so so I'd like to play cartoon caricature miniatures in a more sort of like old school way. It's gone, mate. It's gone. Where's it gone?
It's okay, don't worry.
Oh, right. This is, without naming any names, this game is supposed to be a sort of a post-apocalypse kind of grungy world. So therefore, the miniatures in it you want to have a look of the real world in miniature. And I think this person, whoever they are, is certainly achieving that. Because if you look at the debris detail on the bottom of the bases, so they're carrying the theme through. They're doing a great paint job. And then they're carrying it through. And I find I find horses, dogs, goats, sheep, rats a real difficulty, because the Alsatian or German Shepherd, or what you want to call it, though, I love the blending on that one.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I like the miniature a lot, actually.
This is from the Fallout range. What do you think
Really?
of mutant dogs?
I love the mutant dogs. I think that the mutant dogs are... sorry, I was just thinking about something completely different then. It's just popped into my mind.
Really?
But I'm not allowed
That's not like you.
to mention it. I really wish something
You know,
would
I
get
would-
signed off by somebody, because we've been waiting
You know what,
forever for
I
this
would
thing to be
love
signed off.
to,
I'm not talking about any companies in particular, but when I saw the Fallout stuff, I was just thinking...
Right, see these dogs? I would love to see some of them have like fur or some kind of like texture being put on them as well. Because they're always fully like skinned, and I know they're meant to be mutated, but surely like some fur would
Have some tufts of fur
Yes.
somewhere on the model.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, because with sometimes the whole idea about being mutant is to have all this sort of the kaleidoscope of things going on with them. So they might have fur, they might have a few scales somewhere.
Yeah, a couple of bones like
Or
ripping out of the
just
flesh.
bare flesh.
I would love to see someone like maybe put on some other texture rather than just paint it as a skin mutant.
Yeah.
I see exactly what you're saying.
It's the same thing with like werewolves, because werewolves always have like the mane going down their back and stuff.
Yeah. Another thing, talking about werewolves, just briefly, I do like the skips, by the way. I like the paint job. And look at that. That is really
Very nice.
very nice.
So hold on, let's see here. So this is these three here are resin, and then this is Nora. She's done with PVC.
Yeah.
You can actually tell quite a lot of difference there.
Yeah.
Um,
They're nice.
and
A lot
these
more,
are
lot more
really
detail
nice.
worked into the faces, isn't there? And stuff.
That's very nice paint job as well, actually.
That is good. That is. I like it. I know it sounds pathetic that I keep looking back at the terrain, but you know.
That's okay. Because I like how colourful it is, but it's still
It's the right palette.
saturated
It's
as
the
well.
right colour palette. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, are we free to go on to the next project?
I don't know what you're waiting for, mate. Really.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Old school. Sorry,
Looking at
carry
some
on.
old school high elves from Eraser.
Yeah. I found my son Will, who's one of my 3 sons. I actually found a load of his high elves in the garage the other day, and I said to him, "Do you want these?" And do you know what he said to me? Lovely way. Yeah, I could sell them. So I just didn't give them to him because they remind me of when they had a less developed opinion of me.
Okay.
They used to think I was cool.
So what are you going to do with them now then? Are you going to paint them up, or are you?
They called me Walrus Face.
That's quite rude. Do you
It's
walk
quite
around?
rude.
Do you,
Walrus Face. Well,
do you
because
walk
if I go
around with
swimming,
them?
like, sort of, oh, look, it's Dad, it's Walrus Face. Hello, Walrus Face. Oh.
I was going to say, like, do you like have?
When someone calls you
have
beach
straws or
captain,
something?
you go, yeah, that's me, beach captain. I think I Google that. It's a great big fat walrus that squashes baby walruses. Sorry, carry on.
Oh.
Anyway, yes, I will always have a very fond place in my heart for GW miniatures, especially the early days of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
If you think, you know, the styrene, the drastic plastic stuff that they did first of all, the white ones, I remember those very well. I remember thinking they were awesome. They were very innovative. And nowadays, we know there's nothing unusual about plastics. But then when you open a Games Workshop box nowadays, you still go, "Oh my God, how did they do that?"
Yeah.
I'm a big Game Boy fan of GW. I think it's done an awful lot for so many people's hobbies, and you'll find that even those that don't do as much GW as they used to, almost everyone says that's where I started, and I think it's been absolutely wonderful for the hobby over the years.
Yeah.
And without saying anything about the last few years or anything, because that could be controversial, I love where Games Workshop's at.
It's actually great to see because we've opened up the store.
I don't like your store.
Well, tough. That's where it's
No,
at now.
I've got backstage membership, you see. So I go in your store thinking I really should buy this before I go home.
All right.
The store
Yeah,
is
'cause you're saving money.
honestly right. They put a sweet shop. They are spitting. Oh yeah, we're coming over. Oh yeah, we've got a store. Oh, that's great. You didn't tell me that it was actually next to the sign that says entrance practically. So you walk in, and it's like being an alcoholic, and they find that you've got your collection of mini alcohols or your optics on the side. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you guys when I come in. I'm going, oh, I've not seen that yet. I must have a look at that. Yeah, you've got a really good offering.
It's a good business strategy.
It's a good. No, it's horrendous. No, I thought I was, you know, when I was talking to Lloyd and Warren and that, and about, I think it's going to be great because your local community, bizarrely, is the whole of Ireland. 8 million people. That's a shed load of people.
It's a big group.
Yeah.
But what I was about to say,
It's not my island.
that
It's your
because now
island.
we have the store, it's really nice. We see quite a lot of teenagers coming in, and they're starting to pick up their first boxes.
Yeah.
We haven't seen very many games being played on the tables, but that's mostly because people are still enjoying the hobby. They're building, they're painting, and they're getting to know their armies before
Yeah.
they even start. I think it's great because
And the other, yeah, it is. It
you
is.
see them develop that hobby to start with.
What's nice now is because when I was younger, you'd never tell people you were a gamer.
Yeah,
You'd never say you were into miniatures.
Well, it seems to have switched now.
Well,
because
well,
like
that's because
D&D
of
stuff
computer
is-
games. Even
it's
with
so
D&D,
more
you've been
popular
around.
now.
You know, they'll be like, do you know anything about the Forgotten Realms? Yeah? And they go, the what? Doesn't matter. Yeah. Come on, whatever football team it was. And whereas now, you know, if you play D&D, then it's interesting because in the UK, it's the older people that remember better the kind of uptake of D&D, and the younger people don't. If you're in the US, D&D or like Pathfinder or something like that, that's very much current.
Yeah.
I was told by somebody something crazy like there are 3 million people that weekly play a D&D kind of roleplay game every week in the US.
I
Wow.
wonder is that
That's
well, like,
nearly half the
how
population
do you get
of the
stats
entire
for that?
island
I
of
wonder if
Ireland.
that's like done by.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Then
the
I was
website.
talking over you. I can't.
Or-
Like, repeat yourself.
I wonder how they get the stats for that. Is that done by like all the online?
No, it was on. I know
so.
it's true because I think it was on Wikipedia.
Did someone online tell you?
I think it was Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I know it must
okay.
be true.
Shall we move on? next project. So
Yes.
one of Peace MK.
Yeah.
Photographs are a little bit dark here, but I think it's just base coats at the moment.
Yeah. And that's
build.
I describe that as that's the first stage where you decide how am I going to undercoat these. I mean, it could be that what he's done there is sprayed them black because he wanted quite a dark base to it, and then he's identifying what then would be the colours to build up from those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going with black, red, blue, and gold with some green for the belts and straps in the end. So
He thinks we can't do colours, doesn't he? That's what he's told us.
Yeah, maybe.
What are you doing with that thing now?
I'm just bringing it closer because I think.
I find that intimidating.
Right. Well, don't look at it. Just speak into it. That's
Okay.
all. Okay.
Yeah. What would you like me to say?
No, don't touch it. Just
Why?
because we need it to be there. Okay. Are we okay there, Flickster?
I'm
think,
not speaking
I think we
now.
might be. Hopefully.
Right. Okay.
Ben's been touching a lot of things in the office, so he knows what's been going on. Next up, we have Guillotine and some wizard. I don't know who he is.
that's an amazing model.
Gandalf
What
the
a
White,
wonderful-
that is. Thank you very much. And Shadowfax. And you heathen, you, sir. Right, okay. You did that deliberately.
It's not
I
even
just
pinned.
realised.
It's just white.
Do you know what? Talking about things like D&D and everything else, I remember going way back when I had more hair on my head. No, I probably had the same amount of hair on my head, but it was aligned in a different fashion. Doing a displacer
He
piece.
just fell down.
Jesus, man, you're so hurtful. I can't believe it. It's a good job look, and this is what he put in front of me. It's huge! And he said, act normal. Right. No, so I've mucked it up there, haven't I? So
I told you not
when
to
you've
touch
got
it.
something, I'm just carrying on as if it's not in the studio. Some of us more professional than others. It's just the way it goes. All right, so I was painting this displacer piece many years ago, and it's shades of sort of black that I wanted, and you end up working some purples in and some dark blues, and it's the same with white. He's worked in, or they have worked in a lot of shades of grey to build up that depth, and something all white with depth is really difficult to do. A fantastic job has been done there. Yes, we can move on
There's
now.
been
so-
some like cream shading.
And as
it looks
always,
beautiful though. The basing is beautiful.
I'm sure you're here every week. We're talking about what I think. Right?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know what I was thinking.
But what I like again is, do you notice that with the base there has been no lacking in effort? The base is beautiful. You've got all the colours there. It's just a wonderful piece.
And the thing I like about that base as well is that the white flowers have been added, which may be
you drink
symbolic
any
of the
drink?
flowers in Rohan.
I
So,
don't know what you're talking about, sir. Unless there's a burial man nearby.
Yeah, but who knows? It's a nice little touch. I like that. So
All right.
Yeah, can we move along? Yeah.
Yeah, moving on.
Oh, these are
Civil
awesome.
Courage. Prussians.
Landwehr or landwehr, depending on where you're from.
These
I
are like
think.
really nice.
Yeah. So these are like I suppose militia. I don't quite know how their structure was created, but I do know that they were a kind of a people's army, the Landwehr, I think.
I like how.
If I'm wrong, please don't leave your comments because
I like to
people know
think-
I don't know anything.
I like to think that he's taken inspiration from his avatar picture here.
I think that's lovely. Yeah, I do think that's lovely.
It's very nice.
Oh, civil courage as well, which is what I was saying about them being. Oh wow. Oh, I like
Okay.
the next one.
Next we have Horatian Nose
Yeah.
Blower with Wiz. It's a skeleton knight from WizKids.
Yeah.
it's for their D&D range. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I know another way you can tell the difference between the two Bens. Original Ben knows what he's talking about. Big Ben makes a noise.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, because normally.
I'm also apparently two-facing it because I've got like one side of me covered in completely in shade and the other lightly lit by the sunlight that's
Well,
pouring through my window. So
As long as you're not flipping a coin, Ben, that'll be alright.
Yeah.
You'll be safe enough.
Is that
I love the
terminology
skeleton
for
because
something?
yeah, it's Two-Face from Batman.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Whether he finds out if you're
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving
if you're
on.
naughty or nice, he's the
Yeah.
Santa.
At the
He's the
film.
Santa of Batman.
Carry on. Moving on.
I love the like ethereal look they've gone for this.
Yeah.
Like, with that like greenish tone through
Yeah.
the bones.
Yeah. I like it because the bones aren't white as well.
Yeah.
The bones are ancient, archaic. They got this sort of
The bones are
dog
never
bone,
white, in a way.
dog bone white,
Yeah.
which is a sort of a munched up, chewy kind of a woody kind of a look to it.
Very nice. Before I kick in the highlights, so still more things to go. So I think he's going to be highlighting the sword and doing little bits and pieces of the armor.
Do you know something I've always been rubbish at, apart from painting? In particular, I've been rubbish at non-metal metals when painting.
Yeah.
You know,
that's something I've never ever done. So.
I'm just looking behind me because we have some minis of like non-metallic metal stuff, and I was looking to see if we could find.
It is awesome, isn't it? Really,
something.
It is awesome. I remember the first time I saw that was a long time ago. It was Rackham Miniatures, some of theirs, the early ones, and it was like, what is that? How have they done that? And that was, yeah.
It's very impressive. Rackham did amazing paint jobs back.
Yeah. Do you know what? One of the things I didn't like though was always the ankles. They always seem to want to break at the ankles. A lot of the miniatures that they did, but that's all right. If somebody else owns the right to something, can they sue me for what I said when it was owned by somebody else? That's a question that we don't need to consider. Moving on. Oh,
So,
rats!
So we got some
See what I
rats.
did then?
A little bit of like non-metallic metal here, as you.
Yeah, but
as
well,
you
that's
mentioned.
when you say but it's an orangey colour, but it's giving you the impression the way they've shaded that it is an armour and not clothing. So I imagine it's some sort of a plasticky, synthetic kind of robust kind of Teflon look. Mm-hmm. Is Teflon metal though? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I really like the base. Like he's.
No, it's
painted
ceramic, I think, isn't it?
He's painted in the shadows though.
Yeah, that's nice. And it's those little details that make the difference, because you know the highlight where so you got the pink squiggly wiggly worm tail. Now it's interesting why this person decided not, because sometimes you'll see them decide for some reason to put like bands along a rat's tail, so it looks a bit earthwormy. But in actual fact, when you look at it, that's actually like the hair of the tail that will sometimes do that. But in this, it's not making a big issue of the tail. So this rat man you're supposed to be looking at the fact that they have a gun. They're in some kind of atmosphere that they can't breathe in very well, which for rats is unusual because you tend to think of rats as being able to breathe anywhere.
Yeah.
Except underwater, they'd be drowned rats. Anyway, but yeah, I do like it. The only thing I'm slightly confused about is his legs are in, and I know that's the miniature, not the painter. Is his legs look like they're in bindings, but then again, I've now thought about the fact that depending on.
Well, I think these are trousers.
That's what I think they are too. But, sorry, his feet.
Like
his feet are in
bindings.
binding. Yeah, but that. Yeah, that's might be the fact that what kind of rat man that is, he doesn't want to wear boots, but does want to wear a face mask. But the paint job is fantastic. You keep moving me on.
Yeah, I'm moving on a little bit now.
Was that about tidying up your miniature?
He was talking about he's
converting
on some albedo stuff. He's working on some albino miniatures, so he's just doing some filing. And
taking the tabs off the bottom.
Yeah. But do you know what? That's really important about all of this is, once you become familiar with something, it's like, well, I know how to do that. But it's really important that when we do projects, and I know when 4Ground likes people to show their projects, is always show it to somebody as if they've never done it before, because there's if you want more people in the hobby, show them those steps you feel familiar with. So this is great that we can actually see how this is being done.
Yeah.
Who was that? Who was that? Sorry.
That was Inu 53.
Inu 53. Like the way you presented that.
Mm-hmm. So next we have Warlock Minis. So this was the wizard you were talking about earlier. The fact that he looks more villager-like.
Yeah, unassuming.
Like a hedge wizard, perhaps.
Arcanic.
Yeah. God, you're so good. You're so wicked, sir. Do you see what I did there?
Yes, I saw. But look, he looks like he's got some writings in this scrap.
No, I love it because actually you can see why there's stains on the actual ends of the book. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
I love the texture as well. Just along the cloak and the leather. Really nice job.
Yeah. Very good.
Amazing work. Warlock Minis. Next we have a gelatinous cube from the WizKids line.
Yeah.
Here you go for skeletons that aren't too white. Perfect, I think.
Because all the acid would have, torn everything off the bones, of course. So.
And the bones are on their way to disappearing as well.
Yeah, very nice work.
Yeah, I do like that. Is that the new WizKids stuff that comes? It's like a,
pre-base coloured, effectively.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. I haven't tried any of those because
I've got quite a few of the miniatures that I've used for my players. Like I picked them because they're relatively cheap, and you can paint up the hero characters really easily, and so they're actually not too bad. So.
Good. I'm glad because those that I've seen, I'm at the point where I think I might have to get some of those and have a little play with them because some of the sculpts but what I'm always worried about is that it's easier to represent something sometimes nowadays on a monitor, and you can sometimes be underwhelmed by what you receive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The detail on them is a little soft, so they're not as clean as the renders show, but they are still pretty good. Especially because they've got two lines. They've either got the WizKids one, which is all for D&D, and then they've got a Pathfinder one as well. And the deep cut one just slightly higher slightly higher quality, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all very good. So.
But they're not presenting them as anything else other than these are going to be really good regular game pieces.
They're cheap and cheerful D&D miniatures.
Yeah. And the most important thing I think when you're gaming regularly is to remember that if you're going to do your master paint job, no matter how you try and seal it, finish it, it will end up being worn away. And so I having said it, the reason I asked is because this looks so awesome. I mean, the gelatinous cube looks like a gelatinous cube.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
you can't paint
they've done a lot of clear plastic stuff for the D&D range, so you can actually just use washes and stuff. I think
brilliant.
So.
But that is amazing. That looks.
That's
what I can't understand. That's why I find it interesting, because what you've actually got now is there's textures and colours that I'm sure really good painters could do on a solid object. But with this, is taking advantage of the fact that it is. Opaque. It's
It looks great. I love that. It's fantastic.
Very cool.
And I imagine the skeleton was a person before it got cubed on.
I'm sure it was, yes. Next up, we have this Zinch cultist. I brought it into Photoshop here. We can brighten up a little bit. I think the issue lies here in the photography, just because the paint job is amazing, looks really good, but the photography is because of this white background. Your lighting has picked up on that, or your camera has picked up, and
the dominant aspect.
It's not lighting your miniature as much as you'd think, so it's almost better to do a dark background, because then the camera will realize, oh, this is too dark, and then it'll focus more on the miniature at hand. But it looks like this mini has come quite a way. I really like the paint scheme on it. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's been converted to be a female miniature as well, because I don't think they do them like that.
Yeah.
But I'm about to check. So.
How do you tell it's female?
It's got the booby wrapping.
It's got booby wrapping.
Oh yeah, it's bound chest. Yeah, sorry, I can clearly see now when I've had that pointed out to me that is the representation. I was actually thinking about the fact that you've got the claw that's floating away kind of on the strap end, and how it's a nice colour. I know it sounds stupid, but it's those little things. You know, when you see something and someone goes, like for instance, why is that claw not brown? Because they've taken the time to make sure that little bit is a sort of like a nail or ivory kind of colour, and it's the same with I think they're some sort of belt plates, but you'll probably tell me that they're ammo packs or something. I love that. Do you like the way that they've got the body's natural freckling? Oh, yeah, just there. Yeah, I like that.
Do you want that, Brian?
No. I want those colours. That's what I want. That's what I'm saying. Is that it's easy to forget the little details.
I can do that, you know.
What?
I can do that.
Do what?
I can make a
No, I don't. No. Great. Yeah. Oh, look, you're using the same brush I do.
Is that
the big
one?
What
you want?
No, I don't. I really. Why are you doing this to me? Why can't you take life seriously?
Should Should we give it some tattoos?
No.
I think we could maybe give it some
No.
tattoos. There we go.
That's quite good, actually.
That is cool.
That was good until you started filling it in. Anyway, yes, I really like that, because then in that case, the binding, I haven't moved on yet before you attempt to move me on.
Sorry, my hands are up.
Mm-hmm. I think that's quite good, because what you've got there is is a warrior who finds, men would not want to fight in a certain way because they wouldn't like to jump over fences and things quickly because it could hurt them, and ladies would bind themselves, I could imagine, very likely if they were in combat. And I like it because I always like a real world fantasy, if you like. So I won't talk about Fabled Realms, but I just dropped it in the moving on.
Yeah, no worries.
No. So there you have a situation where why would my boobies be out necessarily? Mm-hmm. Right. We can move on now.
Moving. Oh.
I like that it's been 40k'd as well. So
yes,
it's something for like Necromunda, or I think it's for. They're doing it.
Well, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Yes.
Cool.
That looks like a load of junk now.
Next we have.
See what I did there?
Yes, I get it. No problem. Tom D.
Load of junk in my trunk. Oh, that's a bonnet.
If anyone doesn't know, maybe Ben, you didn't.
What do they call it in America? They flip their bonnet or flip their
hood.
Hood.
Yeah. The hood.
Friends in the hood.
Tom D usually prints out a lot of really cool Fallout miniature stuff. John actually has a helicopter thing lying around the office.
Please describe it as well as you just did. Oh, I can hear Ben tapping. Right. Yeah, I really like that. What I like about the next scroll, that one, I like that. Look at that.
I really like these color schemes here.
Look at that.
The rust.
And if I do a big up for this guy, like what you did just then and what Ben does, do you think he gets me some of this stuff too?
Yeah, I'm sure if you message him.
I think it's awesome! My precious! Did you see that? Oh, I can't talk politics, can I? But did you see that?
Yes, yeah. I saw what he called him as Gollum.
My precious?
Yes.
But we want it, we do! No, carry on, moving on.
Yeah. I'm sure if you message, if anyone wants to message Tom D, I'm sure he might be able to send you some things as well.
Yeah, or if he wants to come over to 4Ground and see some burnt wood.
There you go, if you want to go over to 4Ground.
26 different colours of burnt wood, he could come and have a look. That was
almost
my
as
product
much as
placement, because I placed the fact that we used 26 different colours, and the fact that I'm highlighting it to you now, because I know I was... this isn't quite a TED's talk, but it's similar to one.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Should we roll a TED Talk intro? And then I can leave you.
And then I could no, but wait a minute. Right, then I could just have a snippet of it. Of course, I don't have a LinkedIn profile, by the way. I don't have one.
Okay.
No, because people were.
What relevance is that?
People were contacting me. So I didn't have one. No, because I mean, if you do TED, sometimes you'll find out on a LinkedIn. Oh yeah, this is all linked to my TED talk.
This is my TED Talk.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Well, Big Ted was very tired, and he said to Little Ted, "I need to go to bed." That's my TED talk. You don't know what to say.
TED tail.
I haven't finished with the other one.
Oh,
right.
Sorry.
So I can't necessarily zoom into this. Zooming in. Now if you look at the way the oxidized steel on the bodywork has been done, that's not zooming in, mate. That's just forming a circle. That's like, come on. Alizai, zoom in. Oh wow. Oh no.
Right. Here you go. How zoomed in do we want to go?
The rust, if we can possibly. Obviously that's difficult because we might not have the right. Now can you see that the rust is not one colour? It is shades of rustiness. That is a technical phrase.
Okay.
And I love the way that's done. And the darker bits have been done as if they've bitten more into the metal, my precious. That's a West Country one. All right, my lover, I mean that now. That's a pirate column. But it's absolutely fantastic, and it definitely suspends disbelief. And look at the way it's eaten away. Can I get hold of your mouse a minute? Look. Oh, what's that? Right.
Ben,
there.
now.
What am I doing? That bit there. Can you see that bit, Ben? Original Ben?
Yes, I can see that.
Look at the way it's eaten away.
It's superbly well done.
It is superbly well done.
And it's a good opportunity that if you do anything that's 3D printed, even if you make some mistakes on 3D print, you can always turn them into battle damage. If you, like, obviously this is done here like on purpose.
Yeah.
But if you ever made some mistakes in it, you could always use that to create like damage and warping and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit. Maybe the toolbox is a little bit 3D printed, but that as a technology is coming forwards. But the actual finished job is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Some people are surplus. Can you see that one when I do that? Can you see what I'm doing?
I can see that,
Yeah,
yes.
some people are surplus to requirement. Oh, hang on.
You done? Sorry. I was just relaxing.
So when you said you missed me, you meant you tried to hit me. Is that what you're trying to say? Rather than actually say, hi, mate. Oh, I missed you, haven't you? Well, you didn't say mate, because mate's very much a West Country. Well, a Southern English thing. Mate, isn't it, really? All right, mate? Yeah, mate. We sometimes say lover.
Lover.
In the olden days, yes.
Lover.
All right, my lover. It just means someone that you like, really. What are we doing now?
We're going to look at other projects.
Goodo. That's another. Tends to be more of a West Country thing. Goodo. Or Australians.
All right, my lover was. I'm sure it was, but the only thing I can recognize it from is from the
West
Robin
Country.
Hood movie.
Yeah, West
with
Country.
Kevin Costner.
No. Better than that
Because
is they actually. You can imagine.
What do you call her? Friar Tuck's wife.
All right, my
I
lover.
think. She's like, all right, my lover.
Yeah, but it's West Country. Just bear with me, all right? Oh, God. No, what I really like about that is that there is a well-known, though we would rather call it an antiquated phrase, which is "God blimey," which means to translate, "God blind me," if that is not the case, or if that is so. And so,
God blimey.
God blimey, yeah, don't use it anymore. Grandparents.
I did not realise the origin of that phrase.
Yes. I felt like Churchill then,
That was
don't
pretty
interrupt me while I'm interrupting you. But he had an actual valid thing to say, so I'll let that go. And so in the film you go, well, God blimey, and it's the longest I've ever heard anyone go, God blimey. Because he's actually like spelling out all the abbreviations. Sorry, carry on. Moving along. God blimey.
Right.
Right, my lover?
Our time is almost up, but what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Hobby Hangout thread.
I'm gonna send you a link in the chat because there is one that someone shared with us earlier.
I'm gonna do
Is
any
this-
kind of soft drink. It just happens to be the one.
Is this going to be the pink tank, Ben?
It's not the pink tank. It is from Magarethian Apprentice. But,
Okay, where did you send it to?
I've just sent it to the Twitch chat.
Which, all right, okay. So let's have a look at this first, and then we've got a few other ones that we're going to have a little nosy at.
Come on.
Is it Necromunda?
Oh yeah. Come on, I like this. This is exciting.
So immediately, this is using good stuff because he drinks beer that I approve of. So he drinks BrewDog, which is all good.
Could be any drink.
Any drink, but BrewDog is the best beer.
Wait a minute. Whoa, that is awesome. Yeah.
And he's actually creating some sort of tank terrain for use in Necromunda, which I think is awesome.
Has he printed that resin piece?
I do not know. I think.
Look at that.
Yes, he has printed out a suitable base.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That is really. That's what's getting so spooky exciting about the whole hobby. Is I'm making this out of a bit of sort of plastic from this and a bit of plastic from that, and then the bit that totally suspends disbelief is I'm now going to print this out, and the hobby's just moving in leaps and bounds. That's
whenever I saw this looks really weird.
Yeah,
because
why?
I thought it was just like holes in the tank essentially, but then now whenever he's added the rust, it makes perfect sense. And it looks fantastic.
And also, I didn't realise how well the tops of BrewDog cans work as like lids for these kind of industrial things as well. Yeah. Or you could use them on the table just laying out to create like vents or something as well. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, tank lids.
Tank lids, yeah.
It's going fast now. I want to go back a bit.
Right.
Whoa. Out the way.
This.
Yeah, right. Here we go.
Hands off again.
I like the fact that
That's where I was.
No, you went in between. You went up above it, and then you went down below it, or the other way around, whichever the way you want to look at it. I like the fact that this person, who or she, I don't know, and it doesn't really matter because it isn't a gender particular conversation. The person who has undertaken this project and is executing it remarkably well has considered 3D texture on the ground.
No.
I like battle mats. I think battle mats are great, but obviously what you have is a printed image that is to give the illusion of a real three-dimensional thing.
If you have any questions, the person who made this is in the chat right here.
That we didn't.
McGrathian Apprentice.
Hello.
So you can praise him or her.
McGrathian Apprentice. We
Well,
will try hard to remove you from this monitor. Why is he in there?
He's in the computer.
Sometimes you treat me like I'm an old dithery git. Why is that? Okay, moving on. Yeah, I love it.
I'll tell you why.
I love it because this is getting back to the bit you're about to scroll past again. Oh no, look, you've stopped. How amazing! Is you can see that the floor is in relief. When we talk about in relief or in recess, it means it doesn't seem to be. Sometimes when something is in relief, it is like the Elgin marbles. Not talking about them or whether the Greek thinks they own them because they're from Greece and nobody bought them is irrelevant. Elgin says he had a receipt. Sorry, moving on. Anyway, they're in relief, so of course you get the impression of depth. Now this floor, I'm saying it's in relief. I don't mean that it's in relief giving the impression of depth. I mean it's in relief because it's only just above the surfaces. Because quite often surfaces are very subtle. It's like you see this. Yeah, get out of the way. Thank you.
Sorry.
See that stuff there?
No, they can't see that.
Oh, see that stuff there? Wait a minute! You deliberately have me showing people on. Good God. I'm the guest, right? And you've made people assume that I am some sort of dithery old fool.
You just come in here and invaded the whole.
You asked me to grab hold of the mouse, and then you tell me off for. That's really cool. Look, right? If I do that with the mouse,
isn't that amazing?
And then if I do it with the mouse over there, it's gone from over there. But if I put it over there, it's back. That's awesome.
Genius, the wonders of technology.
Magarathian says that the project is made out of MDF and also 3D printed components.
Lovely.
And it's designed to be entirely modular. So there you go. So it's very cool.
It is very, very good. If you're thinking about, it's no secret that whether whoever's designing at 4Ground, we like to make something that can be modular, and so that the person who's got it is interacting with it. It is another step. When we had to do the very first kit. We did the Rorke's Drift for Warlord back in 2011, whatever. Yes. And we were very much used to, in those days, making models for displays, but not the next thing. Because then what you have to do is you make a model, and then you make a kit of the model. And now what he's done is he's now made, he's made his model, he's made his kit, he's used MDF and pre-painted parts. So in theory, he can produce the same effect relatively straightforward way again. But then he's also made it so that then once he's made those components, he can then make more of it. And talking about futuristic kind of sci-fi environments, I think that's the kind of world people will live in, where the components make the... how you might have an army camp nowadays that's made out of containers kind of things, or you might have a survivor's world made out of containers. But I don't know if anyone's ever actually gone onto Pinterest and looked at container home living, and you see some amazing homes. The structure of the building is this standard homogenized lump, and then what they've done to it is sorry, I'm probably going on a tangent.
No, keep going, because I've got some things to
adult stuff. All right, then. Sometimes you treat me like a dithery old fool.
All right, my liver! There's a couple of YouTube channels that I love to watch as well, they.
Yeah, but you're watching them while I'm doing stuff. That's the thing that's the most unreal.
They make amazing looking things out of.
Why are you losing your words?
Shipping containers.
That's what I meant, containers. Yeah.
I don't know why.
You know what you couldn't do then? You couldn't contain yourself.
I couldn't contain myself. Okay, I want to look at this.
No, I want to look at this now. What's this?
So this is.
What are you doing now?
I'm bringing it into the other page.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah.
So this is what Collins was talking about last week, and we didn't get time to look at it. But he's finished up on these paint schemes, and they look fantastic. Yeah. Even the differentiation between the colours, like the green and the orange, the purple, beautiful colours.
It's a kind of it almost looks like the graphic artist's cell shading sometimes when you do something like this. There is something. I don't know, it's almost like you desire to eat it. Does that sound really silly? But it's like the oranges
they do
look like
sweets.
Yeah. And then what I really like, because again, I'm from a company called 4Ground, and 4Ground makes stuff for people, 4Ground stuff.
Do you want
numeral 4?
Do you want to push out some links?
No, not really. Just said it in passing.
All right, okay.
But we make terrain, which is the other stuff. It doesn't have to be used in the foreground. It can be used in the pre-foreground.
Okay.
Or background. But that sounds a bit dull, doesn't it? Really, a bit backward. Getting on to what I was talking about, although I do actually like the way that he's picked up the. Oh, can I just that?
Yeah, sure.
That bit. I like the way he's picked up. Yeah, because you could easily just. And I love this here as well. And look at his little knobs. Oh, I love it. There's shading around. No, it's mine. Let's move away from it. Oh, look, he's got a folded crease in the back of his fat head, like me. I like that as well. Anyway, so what I was actually going to get to was the bases. I love the fact that people are using clear bases, because I remember ages and ages ago, I think it was some Jungle Fighters, and we cut them in half, the plastics, and had it so that now they're in the swamp kind of thing. And that was really, really cool. But then the other extreme was when you had miniatures, and no matter where they went, no matter how deep down a dungeon you went, they had grass around their feet. And of course the grass is always green under their feet. Even while getting through volcanic ash, they always had grass under their feet.
It's why I think for a lot of sci-fi games, having clear bases works a lot better, I think. Just because with fantasy worlds, you're kind of probably in the same kind of style of environment.
Yeah, so they're going to be grass or snow.
Yeah, but with clear bases on sci-fi miniatures, they could be on a spaceship, they could be in a city, they could be on all kinds of different planets with different climates and that kind of thing. So, really especially cool. for board games as well, when you've got the nice tiles. So like, if you're using these for Imperial Assault and that kind of thing, then.
But that's amazing. The amazing thing about board games, and for me, board games that were actually gaming environments. I'm trying to think back, and because D&D could have been a pen and paper kind of a game, so probably it was Hero Quest was the first board game for me. I'm trying to think desperately. I did actually have Battle of Little Bighorn, but where you had the little cavalry. That was a board game that was a gaming mat in a way, I suppose. Thinking about that might have been my first board game. Have you ever played it? I've still got it. I can bring it over.
You bring it over.
I've never played it.
Time.
Oh my gosh! I've got so much to show you. I have a ridiculous amount of old board games. That means several, too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
My young childish English language is no stretch to yours.
What's that then?
Nothing. I was moving on.
You're insulting me, aren't you?
No.
I think my God, sir! Right.
Okay. So
I was talking about the Little Bighorn. No, what I was actually talking about.
Least,
no, I'm still talking. I'm still. Don't interrupt me when I'm interrupting you. Oh, God, I so wish I could have been Winston Churchill. That is such an awesome line. Apparently, he really said that. He says so on Wikipedia. Anyway, so what I was going to say, although you're deliberately not letting me, I'm going to try this button here. Wrong way. All right then, monkey boy.
What are you doing?
Where's the thing? Oh, look, I like that as well. No, I want to know whether just find me the clear bases.
Well, we have to go back.
Have you played that? Look at the top. It says unboxing, escape from the. Have you played that? That's a really cool.
It is a fantastic.
That is really cool.
Yeah. And we can't look at the thing now.
Sorry, no, I was actually going to talk about what I was talking about earlier. What that is and what.
Well, it's logged me out of the website, so I can't go find it.
All right then.
So you have to continue.
I'm sorry.
And pretend there's.
I'm teamed up with a functionary that doesn't function as well as one would hope.
I'm going to put you in the naughty corner.
But why are you?
Naughty step.
What do you do? What do you do to the naughty one? No, actually, I don't think I'd like that. Anyway, so no, we're talking about clear bases.
Right, clear bases, yeah.
Then you had Space Crusade, which was a game that was you had the 4 tiles, didn't you? That they used to be able to turn them around, and that's how you made your environment. And now it's the absolute norm. in fact, even in those days, they thought that the offerings both for Hero Quest and for Space Crusade was for young people. But I can still remember like the how awesome I felt that was, even though I was playing it with young people I had made myself. So that's how mature I must have been at the time. And nowadays, it's the norm. Nowadays, if I said to you, "Oh yeah, do you want to play on this kind of a, I don't know, space hockey kind of thing?" Not that I could imagine that, because of course that was also in the growth of games. Because Space Hulk, as you know, is it a board game or is it a tabletop miniatures game? The merging, the merging has become so. You know, it's like a card game. What on earth is a card game?
A game with cards.
Because you have magic.
That's a card game.
Yeah. Just
this is a card game.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yes. What I'm trying to say is that there are many games where the mechanics of the game, the structure of the game, requires you to glance at cards that are important, that need shuffling from time to time.
Yeah.
Therefore, the game is intrinsically a card game, among other things you could call it. It's a dice game. It's a miniatures game. And what I like about it nowadays is people are taking things creatively from where they want. Especially when you see things on Kickstarter, for instance, you see, oh, that looks quite good, or oh, I'm not sure about that, and you know, you might not say, oh, I'm not sure about that. You probably wouldn't. You just switch over. But moving back to the thing about the Kickstarter thing, but then you then get a situation where something is so. If there isn't some similarity that you're used to with a game, then sometimes there can be a disjoint. You know, it's like the very first time I got people to play Magic, they go, because this is in a long, long time ago. This is probably, I mean, I got into it quite early for the UK, but I'm guessing it was 95, 96. I know it had been in the States before.
So, do you have an issue with these new games?
None at all.
In all of these different components?
I don't like mechanics that are there unnecessarily, but I do like mechanics there that give the game that enhance the flavour of the game. Is that the best way to describe it?
Perhaps.
Well,
remember this. Remember this is a hobby hangout, and it's not XLBS.
No, I was just told to sit here after I had a wee. Actually, that's what I was told.
Right. I want to finish off the show with Amanda's Operation Pink Tank.
Why are we finishing the show?
Because I have important.
You need to
doctor
get a light to replace your eardrums.
Yes.
Right. Why is it a pink tank? Is it a pink tank because it's North Africa?
Because John refuses to paint a tank pink, and
why?
Amanda has taken.
That's really nice.
Taken the opportunity to do it herself.
Yeah.
And now she bought a pink Sherman and painted up. So here's the assemble.
Yeah.
I'm going through backwards here, but.
Yeah.
So this is from.
I like Zvezda. I like Zvezda stuff, yeah. And I like their 10 mil, their model kits are really, really nice.
That's built up very nicely.
Yeah.
And then we've got a pink tank, and looking at all the rust work and stuff going through, it should be very impressive.
I have a question for the people out there as well.
Okay, ask away.
My question is, I don't know why I think this, but the reason we discovered that pink was a good colour to use on armour in North Africa is we had so much anti-rust red oxide and another white one. Say it's an aluminium kind of a paint, but they didn't have quite enough, and for some reason they mixed them together. Now that could be just an urban myth or a desert myth, but it's interesting that they mixed these two kind of proprietary metal protecting undercoats, paints. They came up with a pink colour, and apparently pink, I have been told, is quite hard to see in the desert.
Interesting.
Hence the pink.
I'm going to have a guess that Amanda didn't think about this. She just probably did this to piss John off. But
okay.
There we have a reason.
It's funny when you get him a little grumpy there. This is not part of my reality. No, this is not part of my reality.
He's getting a bit grumpy over it. You should ask him about Tarantino's film.
Which one?
The one about war. Was it Inglourious Bastards?
Oh, I love that.
He hates it.
So accurate though. So amazingly accurate. It's great.
John will go through you for a shortcut. So he will.
Really?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. Okay, that's all from Hobby Hangout.
Yeah.
Join us again.
It's almost we time again.
Next week. We may be off for Christmas holidays, but who knows? We may be doing something else. But anyway, thank you very much, Ben.
Yeah, cheers for having me.
Off in the ether.
Yes,
No worries,
original
no worries.
Ben.
And thank you very much.
I had a
Ben
very
as well.
relaxing time just having a listen. This
Hey,
week,
mate!
so.
Ow! Oh! Oh! Is that a banana?
Right, that's all from Hobby Hangout. I hope you guys had fun. Go do as much hobby as you can.
Cheers,
this
Lawrence,
weekend.
it's great.
And Ben, it's been great to
And
see
Ben,
you.
big
Would
original
you-
Ben, as always, good to hear you, mate.
Do you want to plug?
Good to
some,
see, hear
what's-
you
what's your
too.
business called again?
Do I want to plug some stuff? Yes, there's a bit of stuff. Hey, you could use this as a mirror, actually. I can't find my comb. Yeah, I'm from 4Ground.
Is that all you need? 4ground.co.uk. If you need any terrain, go to 4ground. Right, thank you guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ben.